Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on IG so they can be a part of our conversation. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. My next guest and I were just talking. We've had several conversations together, but she's now celebrating a great new book. I told her I'm already halfway through, and I know you guys are going to love it as well. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the new book by our next guest. Best-selling author Vanessa Riley is with us today. You guys know her from some great books, including, I have to say, Vanessa, this was my personal favorite, Island Queen. I learned so much in this book. Definitely enjoyed that. But her new book, you guys can see, is Fire, Sword, and Sea. We're going to talk to her not only about the new book, but also what it's like for her to go back to the 1600s to be able to tell this story that is so timely for us today, with I think some great lessons as well. If you guys are not following Vanessa and all she's doing, we'll let you guys know how to do that. But Vanessa, thank you so much for being back with us. Really appreciate it.
Cyrus, I am excited to be here. I mean, we were talking earlier. You've been at the early part of my career, and
Wow,
with some of my earliest books, and this is book number 29.
that's amazing. Amazing. So let's start there then, because I think for so many people, and I've seen this even as I was aka social media stalking as I was prepping for this segment with you today. What's so interesting about your career, Vanessa, you've had people who have been with you from the beginning, but then you write a book like, Fire, Sword, and Sea that picks up new readers and new people coming on the journey. What has it been like for you to be able to have the OG followers, but also new followers from book to book?
You want all the followers you can.
Yeah.
And when you're telling stories about true history, things
Mhm,
that should have made it into our history books but didn't,
mhm.
things that if you learned it, it could change lives
Yeah,
because it gives you a sense of power and history, as opposed to shame, which a lot of people, particularly people of color, Black people, may feel towards history. And to see these younger readers, to see the OGs, and everybody finding themselves in a story, I mean, to me, that is a story worth talking about.
yeah, I love it. Have you always known that that was a gift for you, Vanessa, to be able to not only tell stories, but tell stories that people can connect with?
Um, I've always wanted to write, but I was also, as you know, a math nerd, right?
Mhm.
And I blame my parents, right? My mother was a literature woman. She made sure we were into Baldwin, Thoreau, and Angelou and Austen. And my father is from Trinidad and Tobago, and he's a storyteller. And so he's, come here, little girl, let me tell you about some woman that did something amazing. And
Mhm.
so you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I love telling stories. I use nonfiction books all the time. I use encyclopedias or different Wikipedias that have been assembled, archivist notes, all this. But the average person doesn't have time for that.
Yeah.
And there's a fear of stumbling into something you may not understand. So
Mhm.
if I can use my gifts to make something real and relatable, to make you feel like you're right there on the boat in the 1600s, I've done my job.
Yeah.
I have notes at the end of the book, so if you get more curious, I've got a guide so you can go and research
Yeah.
and just sink into the time period. But I want to make history accessible. I want to make it come alive to you in ways that it's never been.
So, to that point then about history, because that is, of course, what we know you from writing historical fiction. That's where people have really gravitated to you from. Talk to us about your own love of history. Does that also go back then to family, especially your father, being able to tell these stories and that being something you want to be a part of?
Yeah, I'm as much as I'm a math nerd, I'm a history nerd, and so my father
Mhm.
would tell me all these interesting things. Now, as an adult, I know about 50% of that is true. 50% was trying to get us to go to bed.
Right.
But the things that he would tell us, and you find like with Island Queen, to find a woman during a time where chattel slavery is running rampant, to
Mhm.
rise from slavery to become one of the wealthiest women in the Caribbean, to break through all the barriers that the quote unquote historians or those who watched Pride and Prejudice 1995 version, get stuck on these things and they don't see the real narratives. And so to find these people and to make them relatable in a way, through the beauty of words, through the dynamics, like all. audible, Adjoa Ando, Lady Dansbury. So if those of you who are out
Mhm.
there in the Bridgerton world, she
Yeah.
actually does the narration for Island Queen. Robin Miles does the wonderful narration for Fire, Sword, and Sea.
Mhm.
Both of these are performances. So
Yes.
especially if you've got time and you're on a plane or you're driving someplace and you just want to disappear into another world, narration, words, it's the way to go.
Yeah, I love that. Hello to you, Sugar Ray, over there on IG. Hello to you, Ice Cold Brug. It'll be to see you as over there on IG as well. You guys joining us on YouTube, appreciate that. And you guys on Amazon, I got a request. So I was trying to, while you were talking there, being able to add some of the other books on Amazon that our audience can be able to get as well. I had already selfishly put Island Queen there, but I didn't put Queen of the Owls, Exile. Someone asked
Mhm,
about that one, so I'm putting
mhm,
that for you guys there too. I
mhm.
want to talk about what you said when we first started this conversation, 'cause I think it goes to a very big point, Vanessa, because you are now almost at 30 titles. You have literally built an empire that you've been able to call your own. No, seriously, that you've been able to call your own. Do you have time as you are researching the history of others to think about the history that you're making?
No, I have no, because I'm not done. I think when you memoirs are reflective and you have a story to tell, I think my story is about halfway.
Okay.
There are such exciting projects on the work, new books, even potential movie translations, and these sorts of things. I have books that are translated in Russian and Portuguese and Romanian. That these are things at the beginning of my career I would have never thought would happen. And
Yeah.
so we're reaching people with these stories because ultimately I am a storyteller. I want these words to get to you. I want you to think about history in a
Mm.
way that's, hey, we've seen this before. We've seen how women needed to resist before.
Yeah.
They stuck to their goals. We've seen how men have risen up and protected the house. This is what we need to do again. So it's like if you look at history, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it shapes you. It tells you what you can do, tells you the traps to avoid.
Yeah.
And those are the things I want to do.
And you're definitely doing that. Sugar Ray over there on IG, who's also an author and speaker, he says, "Congratulations, incredible." And I think there are so many people. You mentioned, of course, men and women, but this book in particular, the new book, Fire, Sword, and Sea, focuses on these amazing women. So I want to talk about for yourself what the discovery was like. I'm always curious, Vanessa, when authors are able to tell us, like with Island Queen, tell us things we've never known about, what it was like for them to first discover it. How did you discover those who were involved in Fire, Sword, and Sea, and give us a different way of looking at at pirates?
Yeah. So I was on this really arduous writing retreat in Jamaica. Yeah. So I tell everybody, whenever you go anywhere, check out the history.
Mm,
And Jamaica, you fly in right over Port Royal. And for those who don't know, Port Royal is the Sodom and Gomorrah of the West Indies. It
mm.
was destroyed by a tsunami, an earthquake, and fire on the same day.
Oh
Half
wow.
of the city falls into the sea. The other half is what's there. And so Fort Charles has been preserved. It actually still half of it is at least there. And we're touring, and the tour guide says, "Do you want to see?" She's shown us the barracks where the troops were. She's like, "Do you want to see the prisons?" And I was like, "No, no, I'm black. I don't want to. I don't want to see the prisons."
Yeah.
She's like, "No, but you got to see where we kept the female pirates." And I was like, "What?" And we go there, and she talks about Anne Bonny and Mary Read. And I was like, "Well, were there any black women pirates?" And everybody's looking around, and we pull our phones out, we go to Google, and the
Hmm.
name Jacot Delahaye comes up. And then I find this woman who started out her life as a working in a tavern at her father's tavern, basically making stew for pirates as they come in, and they're buying ale and they're eating her soup, and she's hearing these stories of adventure. But she's in the 1600, and women only have two roles where they are supposed to be either a wife or a wench, or as a
Hmm.
friend said, a hoe or a housewife.
Hmm.
Those are your limiting options. And Jacot wants more. She demands more. And she eventually becomes a pirate. She has to, unfortunately, she's got to do secret things. She's got to dress up as a man. She's got to join a crew. It's basically stealing a boat.
Mhm.
And she rises from just being a member of the crew to being a pirate captain. So it's an amazing story. I was flabbergasted. I didn't, my research, 20 to 30% of the pirates in the Caribbean were Black or
Wow.
African or indigenous.
Wow.
And it's like, I see movies. We never see this.
Yeah.
And so it's a foundational book from that perspective to kind of
Mhm.
reset the landscape.
Mhm.
It's adventurous because there are battles, there's action, there are human connections there, and there's this fierce sisterhood that develops among other women who have secrets that are trying to be part of a pirate crew.
Yeah. The thing about you, Vanessa, and I can say for those who have not read any of your books before, not only do you bring these stories to life, the dialogue you normally create around them is really interesting. And as you were talking, I thought about a piece of dialogue I want to mention. Sugar Ray says on IG, absolutely, history tells us the traps to avoid. Great work. Hello to you, Alfonso Short. Good to see you over there on Facebook. And Tanya, I put your comment earlier, didn't say hello. Hello to Tanya Brown Rivers joining us over
Tanya,
there on
love
Facebook as
you.
well. And for you guys joining us, the 120 of you guys over on the Amazon side, appreciate you. If you guys have any questions or comments for Vanessa, make sure you guys put those in the chat. We'll be glad to be able to get those answered. Let me reset real quick, Vanessa, and say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm excited to welcome back best-selling author Vanessa Riley to our broadcast today. She's an author who's been able to thrill readers literally around the world. Her newest book is right here. It's called Fire, Sword, and Sea. You guys can get it in print or the Kindle edition, as you guys can see there on the Amazon side. We're also going to let you guys know how to stay connected with Vanessa. So, Vanessa, I was mentioning dialogue, and there's something that came to my mind as you were just talking, as they were kind of assessing. You know the scene I'm talking about. They're assessing the danger that was around them. And one thing they talked about, of course, is what could be the most dangerous. Of course, getting to hand combat. My mom is here too. Hey, mom. Good to be to see you over there on Facebook too. I'm on my best behavior, I promise, mom. But one of the things that came to my mind in that
Your son
scene
is
that you
amazing,
wrote.
by the way. I'm just gonna say that your son's
Wow,
amazing.
I appreciate that, Vanessa. But you really help us to see the cost of inaction, and I thought that was a very real world thing for us all to think about as they were assessing this, how precarious the situation was they were facing, what the dangers were, but also realizing that something had to, that action was what was needed. Inaction was not something they could do. What was that like for you? My cousin's here too. I just got all of my family. Hey, Sean, good to see you over there on Facebook as well. What was it like for you to think about the situations they were put in, knowing the risk, but also the bigger picture for your readers about the cost of inaction today in the world?
Yeah. So you have this situation where, for a moment in time, for about 50 years, piracy is legal. So becoming a pirate it's like I could be a sailor, I could be a chef, I could be a pirate. It's a legal entity.
Mhm.
And you have these women who are disguising themselves. So they know that any moment they could be discovered. And
Yeah.
if that's going to happen, unfortunately, they're not going to walk the plank. That's movie. They're going to be marooned, which is worse. They're going to be left on a bar or deserted island where it's salt water. There's no water to drink. You'll die from thirst in a few days. If you're lucky, they will leave you with a knife.
Mm.
If you are in battle and something goes down, I mean, you're hand-to-hand combat. You have to survive.
Yeah.
And you have to have the confidence that the guy behind you, that when he lifts his sword, he's attacking the enemy and not you.
Mhm.
And so you have all of these different people from different backgrounds. One of the beautiful things about a pirate ship is it's a meritocracy. They're
Mm.
not asking you who you are. They're not asking you. They assume you're all men, but
Mhm.
they're not asking. They're not
Yeah.
asking where you come from, what your socioeconomic status is. They're asking, can you do the job?
Right.
Can you rig the sails? And if you're going to fight, are you going to fight to the death for me? Everybody has one vote. And so
Mhm.
when you think about this system of everybody has to act for the greater good of the ship. So as we're in this massive ship of America, you have to think, are we acting in its greater good?
Yeah.
And then when you feel powerless, these women could die at any minute. but they still chose to act.
Yeah.
They saw things that were wrong. They had dreams. Their dreams were worth fighting for. So I think,
Mhm.
if anything you can take from this, when you feel helpless, as long as you're breathing, you're not really helpless.
Yeah.
You can move, you can do, you can call, you can make a stand. You can help somebody else who's trying to fight.
Mm.
There's always something you can do.
Vanessa, writing this book in first person, did that make those points even more real to you as you were thinking about the world that they were in, but also thinking about yourself?
Yeah, because you feel helpless. Things are happening, things that others may not have ever imagined to happen, that you kind of thought, things could happen this way. And,
Right.
nobody listened.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're all here now, right?
Yeah.
How do you survive? How do you repair the wounds?
Yeah.
Because there's still wounds here. Just pretending we're all in the same team now is not going to work. And so, you know, being able to have those kind of discussions or conversations, but putting it first person so you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be these people.
Yeah.
I want you to, whenever you dive into one of my books, I want you to feel like you're there, but safely, because, there is trauma in history,
Right.
particularly if you're marginalized, of color, Black. If you're any of that, you're always trepidatious when you're
Mm.
thinking about history. And so in my books, I make sure that you are safe and protected, but you feel like you're there. You're part of the crew. You're in the battles. You're
Mm.
watching someone's back. And first persons kind of centers that for me,
Yeah.
and helps carry that narrative.
Mm.
And so you're in the skin of Jacot, and you understand the complexities and everything. And one of the gifts is she's not magical. She is very flawed. She makes decisions that I personally would not make.
Mm.
But when you write historical fiction, it's not you. You
It's
were
not you.
them during that moment
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah.
And you have to honor their decisions. You have to show how smart, how stupid, how selfish, how funny, how crazed these individuals are, but without judgment.
Yeah.
Because you're honoring a life, you're bringing them back into the lexicon. And I take that very, 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 that responsibility very heavily. And first person is just one of those vehicles to really help you center yourself into a narrative.
Yeah. And I remember talking about you're taking it seriously. I can remember that with Eileen Queen and you talking about how history tried to erase her and how an author like yourself is able to make sure that doesn't happen. Same with the new book, Fire, Sword, and Sea as well. So I want to ask you this, Vanessa, for yourself, because I know I can't even imagine how much time you spend with each book, with the research and then the writing and then being able to craft it. But do you find that this is not just a career for you, but it has become almost a mission and purpose for you as well?
Oh, absolutely. When I started out my career, I was an engineer. My mother told me, she pulled me aside because she knew I loved to write. She knew I was really great at math, and she said, "Baby, you always have to pay your bills." That was a wise woman because the creative life will test you. It will test
Right.
your mettle. There are highs and lows.
Yeah.
And you have to know your why. Why are you really doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you putting yourself through this? When others, like my family, I make sure they're in bed by 10 because I want the house quiet so
Mm.
I can sink into these worlds and write. Other
Yes.
people would be watching Netflix. You know,
Yeah.
there's a place for that in my life.
Right.
But I am committed to writing these stories, and so you sacrifice time, and you don't get time back.
Yeah.
So I'm a person of, like, if I'm with you, I'm with you. If I'm
Yeah.
with my family, I'm with you. But when I'm in my writing cave, I'm writing, and
Love it.
that's the things that are most present and so most important in that moment in time.
Mhm. And I think the readers appreciate that for sure. Ashley, hello to you over there on IG. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you guys so much for being with us on the Amazon side. Again, everyone, best-selling author Vanessa Riley has been our guest. Her new book is called Fire, Sword, and Sea. You guys can see it there. You can get it in print or the Kindle edition here on Amazon. Make sure you guys get your copy. She's also been out on the road. I saw your picture, Vanessa, was, I think there was one left in one store that you went to that you that you shared with us. So exciting times for you for sure. Congratulations on the success. How can our audience stay connected with you, Vanessa?
First and foremost, my website, vanessariley.com. Join my newsletter. It also has links to my podcast, Rite of Passage, which is a weekly podcast where I talk about the world of constructs, but in a historical sense. Why are we drifting? Why are we moving? What are we doing in this time frame? And how can our words make things better? On social medias, I am Vanessa Riley, author, pretty much everywhere. I think on that old TikTok, I might still be Vanessa Riley.
Okay, okay. Got you. So we'll make sure to retag you as well. Vanessa, so glad we got a chance to catch up. The time always moves so quickly, but looking forward to our next chat together.
Absolutely.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.